Hello, everyone. I'm Andy, coming to you from the United Kingdom, back from a trip to Poland, where I have been on a farm and getting my fingernails dirty, which is unusual for me. So, yeah,
And
there
I
we
guess
go.
your suit and tie got a little dirty too, Andy.
Always. I did even venture into wearing a pair of shorts as well, but I changed my mind on that one very quickly.
I was going to say there were no cameras around, I'm sure.
I certainly hope not.
Very good. Well, I shall introduce myself.
That's a good idea.
Your host, Scott, and I'm in Toronto.
For any new listeners, we're normally much sleeker. We're normally much sleeker than this and much more organised. But the summer months have been catching up to us, and we're a little bit more relaxed. So hope you're enjoying it. This is the T and Timbits podcast, global perspectives on business development to help you prosper. And today we're going to be talking about managing up, focusing on priorities and gaps, not status reports. However, before we get into that topic and go deep into what all of that means, Scott, I understand you do have a story for us this week.
Yes, thank you, Andy. And this is part of our sort of series of episodes that are touching on corporate culture. And so, I was on a call the other day in one of my career development coaching sessions, and we get sort of coached on a topic, and then we process that. And then there's also sometimes sort of for personal issues and sharing and support on that. And somebody asked, anybody got any advice? I'm sure we've all been in this situation where, you're trying to enjoy your personal time, your family time on the weekend, and you're just your inbox keeps filling up with corporate emails and notes from your boss, and how do you manage that? And what do you, how can I properly sort of manage and maintain my own sanity in that situation? And so, there's all kinds of little tricks and things like that, which we all suggested, and, creating a different profile and setting up rules on your phone and computer for different notifications and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't change the fact that then on Monday morning, regardless of how you managed it, you're sitting there with this like anxiety inducing pile of things that somebody else was doing, and you feel guilty about not addressing. And so whatever the solution to that is, and I think we're going to get into some of our conversation about managing up for that, which I won't touch on now. It's just an indication that is an aspect of corporate culture that you either need to be clear about and upfront about for the people that are coming in to work at your organization, or you need to be clear that is not something that is endorsed or even allowed in our organization. I think that kind of, we all, especially in the work from home, remote work situations, need a little bit more flexibility in sort of our and I get that it varies on the business, but you might be catching up on email in the evening or on the weekend, and that's fine. And everybody has their own times when their family and personal lives are in the routine, and so maybe the weekend is when you get caught up. But fine, if that works for you. But there's an impact on the whole, which I think needs to be carefully considered and expectations set if from an organizational perspective.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. I agree. Makes perfect sense, and I think it's really important that we do keep an eye on those things. But before diving deeper into those things that can relate somewhat to what we're going to be talking about today, what are you hoping to get out of today's topic?
So I think this landed on our list of conversations because it's often overlooked, and you don't get a lot of coaching on this within your organization because it requires that whoever is in that mentorship and leadership position proactively coaches you on how to manage them, which I don't think is ever something that's on the front of the mind of that mentor or leader. So this is for those leaders to go, oh yeah, I should probably create some space for that, and for some of the other contributors or team members to go, well, in the absence of that,
Yeah.
here's some thoughts that you might digest and ignore or not.
Okay, no, fair enough. I think so. This episode then is more targeted towards those leaders, or is it more targeted
I
to?
think there's something in here for both, right?
Okay,
A
okay.
leader, don't forget you need to create the space, and if you're if you're a contributor
Yeah.
and you're not getting this coaching, maybe there's something here that you can take away and employ without that coming from your organization.
So, if you are, let's say, an employee in an organization and you haven't been coached, as you say, it's not a common thing that that leaders necessarily give this space. What would be the key advice from your perspective that an employee can adopt in order to safely feel that they can give this feedback, this advice to their managers or bosses or senior people in the organization
Yeah.
without it coming across in a way that they're just going, "Oh, you're a rubbish boss."
Okay, well, I don't think that's what I meant. So it's not about how to give feedback to your manager or tell them that they need to. I guess there is space for that, but where my head was at is, what can you be doing to effectively manage up? And so first of all, maybe what does that mean? So in my mind, this is about showing up in those scenarios where you have a one-on-one or a status meeting, or maybe you don't have that structure, but you need to communicate that anyway. A lot of times, what I have seen can happen, and perhaps more junior or inexperienced people, is they just show up there ready to react.
Yes.
And I've got, and I'm just going to wait till I get told what we need to talk about, and I'll hopefully be ready, and I'll come with a whole bunch of notes, and maybe I'll have the right answer. And that's fine, especially earlier in your career, but the sooner you can adopt a posture of going into those meetings being the one to lead them, and as the contributor, and say, okay, I need you for this reason, like I have time with you, and so it's my time with you, and so this is for me, and I'm going to set the agenda as the person that gets that time with their, sometimes, but if you don't state your intention, your need for that resource and whatnot up front, then yeah, it's always going to be reactionary. And sometimes that senior leader that you're meeting with does need to set the agenda and whatnot. But I tell you, like, when you can show up ready, not and it's not about, I don't want to hear every detail. I don't. I want to hear, like, I now, as the sort of mentor leader in that scenario, please do not walk me through the minutia, the detail. You need to be able to accurately bring forward highlights, challenges that are going to benefit from the time that we're having together.
Yeah.
I don't need a meeting or that time with you in order to check the system or the timesheets or the project board or whatever.
This is exactly it, because that's where a lot of these so-called coaching sessions end up being. It's like, so where are your numbers? What can we do to improve the numbers? And yes, those conversations are essential, absolutely. However, you're completely right. I mean, it's very much up to both parties in this to make sure that the goals and the activities of each individual are aligned with the company and with the overall goals, and making sure that people aren't doing tasks that they shouldn't be doing, that aren't overall contributing to the to the company goals. But also for an employee, for a staff member, What needs to happen is that you need to be able to identify the gaps and the issues and the challenges, but not just identify them and then go, oh, this thing isn't working, or this thing's a problem, or
Yeah.
this person's doing this thing wrong, or that person's that. Can you help me? No. What you need to be doing is going, these are the problems, these are the issues, this is what I've done to address them.
Mhm.
What more can we do? How can you support me to take this a little bit further? But don't go there with the problems and go, take care of this for me. Go there and show that you have taken care of the problem, that you just to
Or
inform them that you've addressed it, and then say, and now I need help to take it further. Now I need help to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Now I need your help as a leader to guide me on how to do that differently, or how to do that better in the future.
I mean, you may genuinely be stuck and you may not know how to advance it, and that's fine. But don't just kind of dump it
No, no,
on
exactly.
your leader's lap and
Mm.
say like, I don't know what to do. What would you do in this situation? I mean, the 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 um the impulse is to do that because that leader has been there before. They're in that senior role because they've already been through what you're going through, and they probably do have a quick answer. But boy, is that tiring. If I wanted to do your job, then I'd still be doing
Exactly.
that job.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're stuck and you don't know, be really clear about, okay, problem statement, I am stuck and this is where we're at, context. I think this, and there might be some different options or
Yeah.
perspectives on this. And I think, yeah, and pick one, put your neck out.
Yeah.
Say, and I'm leaning towards this approach. So now you've established the narrative. Be really careful when you're getting that sort of background and description. It's not a detailed summary of all the things that have happened. It is, you know, framing the problem that you need help unlocking.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think the extra level of, and these are the things I have tried, but
Mhm.
I'm not getting traction, or these are the things I've tried, but it's not quite got the results that I wanted, or, you know, being clear that you've actually taken some action, that you've actually done something, not just going, oh, these are the problems. Oh, it's not my problem. It's my boss's problem. My boss needs to decide what's going on there.
Mhm.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work for anyone, because people hire you to do a job, and your boss has a job to do as well, and your boss's boss and your boss's boss's boss and so on. And if they're all doing that, just passing it up the line, then you're going to have one person at the top who's going, right, I've got all of these problems that I now need to deal with, and that's not the way it works. And so it's very important that there is a support network there, but also that you're not afraid of taking some action yourself as well,
Yeah.
and showing that, and as you say, putting your neck out. One point that you did raise that is very important is know who you're talking to,
Yeah.
because if you have, if you're in a company, it's just as important to be able to have these conversations with your direct boss as it is with the top person in the company. So understand the communication level, understand who you're talking to, and adjust your communication accordingly. There's no problem in saying, I have this issue. This is how I've dealt with it. It hasn't worked out well. I'd appreciate your feedback on it, and adapting that for whoever you're talking to. That's not a problem at all. But just make sure that your language is appropriate for the person who you're talking to, and that you respect their position, and keep that in mind when you're talking to them.
Yep. And then, this has kind of come from a point of like friction
Mm.
or personal growth and career growth. But there's another sort of flavor to this scenario, which is that sort of high achieving contributor
Mhm.
still having that, whatever cadence it's on, check in, and kind of being a little bit annoyed that this is uh, uh, an interruption to their day.
Mm.
And I think in those, because I've had that too. It's like you've got somebody who's just, you don't actually need a lot of guidance and coaching and
Mm.
contribution. It is absolutely okay to show up and be like, yes, yet again, things are on track. I'm talking to these clients. We're working through these things. And there are some highlights to share. Listen,
Yeah.
this success happened for these reasons. This is, and it doesn't just have to be, oh, help me and whatnot.
Mm.
And if you've kind of hit that threshold, absolutely use the time to proactively say, and here's how I would like to advance my career, or my role, my function, or here's where else I'd like. And maybe you don't have those ambitions, and for some people that's absolutely fine. But there is a way to show up and genuinely make sure you're using that time wisely. And if it doesn't require the half an hour block that's in the calendar, maybe sometimes it does, and maybe sometimes it doesn't. There's nobody's going to fault you for saying, yep, I'm ready, I'm prepared, here's my list, here's what you need to know and be aware of. It may be urgent, it may affect the business in 6 months. Flagging this for you. Got any questions, got anything else? Great. You can have the balance of the time back.
And this all comes back to what we were saying in the very first episode about the culture of an organization, that you create a culture where it is safe for people to feel comfortable to give that feedback, to contribute to the development of the organization, and to feel that it's okay to say, we've been doing these things for years, but actually now I've discovered this better way of doing it, or this alternative way of doing it. How can we implement that into our business, and to be safe and comfortable to have those conversations, and that the organization doesn't just go, no, we've always done it this way, we're not changing. Is to at least listen and give it a try, and be open to receiving that feedback from junior people in the organization, rather than just saying it's the responsibility of the management to make all of the decisions.
For sure. And I guess to sort of bring it back to the story I was mentioning at the top of the episode, I think this is also about making sure when you're having these conversations and managing up, that it's also about being clear and communicating your own personal boundaries. They can't be incongruent with the business requirements, and some businesses need some sort of availability evenings and weekends. There's businesses that just operate that way, and that should have been a clear expectation when you took the job. And if it wasn't, then that's a problem. But if you need to say, listen, my weekends are my time, and I will let those emails pile up, but I need you to know, and because maybe that's already an unsaid expectation. Oh, yeah, of course, I'm sending you these emails. I'm sorry, that's when I do my thing, and I'm never expecting you to pay attention to them until Monday morning. In fact, and I know you show up to a pile of them on Monday morning, but get back to me sometime, and maybe I'll do a better job of sort of flagging the importance when I'm sending these and whatnot. But I think for an individual, kind of, if you don't put that dotted line, solid line around what you need in order to thrive and be well within your own space, you're not going to thrive, and the business won't be better for it.
That's right. So, circling back to the desired outcome from this episode, do you think we've covered everything that we need to cover in terms of giving people the tools and the advice and the information that will help them to manage up and to feel safe to do that?
Well, I think that's just kind of what it comes down to. There are effective ways to manage up, and we've talked about some of those. And now, as an individual contributor, maybe you can take some of that and internalize it and adjust your posture the next time you show up in one of those moments. And for a leader, if you haven't articulated that that's what you need and how you want that kind of conversation to take place, you should absolutely do that.
Do it. Exactly. Yeah. No, thank you very much. Anyone with any points, feedback, or who wish to manage up with us, then do feel free to do so. Visit tandtimbits.com, where you will find many ways to get in touch and to subscribe to listen to more of these episodes. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody.